Hi, my name is Shane Larson, and this is Building Microservices with Node.js, Volume 1. Building Microservices with Node.js, Mastering Microservices Architecture to Build Apps that Scale. Author Bio. Hi, I'm Shane Larson. I'm a professional software engineer and solutions architect with years of experience developing data-driven applications for the financial industry. I like to work in an agile development environment. I like working on Node.js applications. I work in C#, MongoDB, and cloud-native architectures and services. I currently work on a project involving voice-first design, and it involves automating the alerting of events within financial markets, so Alexa applications or Google Home that allow you to communicate to a trading application so that you can make decisions about trading currencies or getting alerts for those currencies using your smart home device. I also spend some of my free time in the remote areas of Alaska working on a small cabin that I've been building myself. My website is www.grizzlypeaksoftware.com, and there I do a little bit of blogging about technology in general, things like microservice-based CMSs or Alexa, different things like that. You can also find me on LinkedIn. My profile is Shane Larson 889AA64. We are going to be talking about Node.js, and so this will involve installing this in your environment. You can build these projects in Windows or Linux, whichever you prefer. The code works on any platform. So wherever you feel most comfortable, just try to follow along with the deployment kind of concepts, and then you can adapt your strategy to your OS. We will also be using MongoDB, which is a document database that is somewhat different than traditional relational databases. We'll go into it in a little bit more detail later on in this course. Volume 1, Learning to Build Microservices with Node.js. This course is targeted to the Node.js developer with basic experience building some back-end services with Node.js, but perhaps no prior experience with developing microservices. The students will get a ready-to-use example of a monolith app, and then implement the respective backend for the most basic features of it using Node.js, MongoDB, and many great tools. Students wishing to learn about the building blocks of a microservice and some general knowledge about how to code them and deploy them into a scalable application would benefit from this course. Developers with prior experience in another programming language, such as Java or C#, will also be able to follow along with this course well. In this course, you will learn how to identify when it is appropriate to use a microservices architecture. It will help you develop a microservices architecture plan for your monolithic app and evaluate the needed platforms and tools. It will help you build a microservices architecture in iterative releases, starting with perhaps a minimum viable product and ending with a completed product for the end user. We will demonstrate how you can use PM2 to deploy your microservices into your production environment, for example, and scaling considerations, load balancing considerations. We will cover this on a surface level. There's a lot of different tools there. We'll demonstrate Nginx and perhaps another load balancing solution, and you'll have to do a little more research around load balancing, but we will get you started. We will learn about monitoring microservices and using PM2 and other tools to be alerted upon failures, and perhaps even considering designing your own microservices status monitoring service. which is an idea I heard at a DevOps conference in San Francisco a few months ago, and it sounded like a good plan. It was something that I believe Netflix is doing. And then we will learn how to apply best practices and design patterns to create efficient microservices. We will gain these key features: hands-on experience in architecting and building an application with microservices. Take control of your application status and discover failures before your customers do. Automate testing, deployment, and scaling of applications in the cloud. Section 1. Design your microservices architecture. In this section, we will go over how some of the basics of architecting and creating microservices works, and the sample project we will be using to learn how to go about taking apart a larger monolithic application and breaking it down into smaller, focused components that can be deployed and scaled independently. In this first video, we will show how you can create an API gateway that allows you access into your individual microservices. Microservices are typically designed with their own independent data store. They are loosely coupled, not tightly coupled like a monolithic architecture. This allows for a company to build one component at a time in an iterative fashion in order to slowly disassemble a monolithic application and create a new, flexible, easier to maintain system. In this example, you can see where a web application or an IoT app like Alexa or a mobile app could interface with the API gateway and work with these services to create custom applications, so that when you need something in mobile that is one way, yet you need something different in your web application, it is easier to render within those devices rather than having a large web monolith that has to handle all these strange edge cases. In the next section, we will learn about key design principles for microservice architectures. We will also continue on into looking at some use cases, and then we'll look at NodeJS and MongoDB and the basics of how to install those on your environment. And then we will look at your class project, and then we will continue on to designing the microservices architecture that will be ready for the next section. Thank you.